Yep. Ding ding, let's go. So, as I like to play with words and the meaning, the significance, the insight that comes forth after I do the play with words, the rearrangement of words, it's a beautiful thing. So, the phrase, apple of my eye, well, I've used the apple and tree symbolism, and then I turned it to apple of my eye, just the letter I. And that goes right in line with the apple and tree symbolism in terms of existential, heart and soul based giving as an inevitability of being alive. So, if you haven't watched those other videos or read the book or whatever, we are giving all of the time, whether or not we notice it. Sometimes it's obvious, right? Where it's like we're giving a report at work or a speech or something to someone or offering help or paying money. So yes, we're giving all the time in that sense, but even in a more subtle sense, in terms of subtle cues, body language, doing comments online, or anything online for that matter, it doesn't feel that significant, but a simple comment on social media can affect someone and change someone. And all of this matters because we, symbolically, as trees, we're giving these fruits all the time. Things are coming into fruition all the time. Yes, we can set goals and feel like we're not really getting there until we're there, but we're making moves all along the way. We're giving apples all along the way. And the fact that we are giving, people are also receiving. So imagine that everything that you do, everyone bloop, gets an apple in their hands after you've done whatever you've done in life. Even if it was just you're walking down the street and you do a little twirl just because, then everyone who saw that gets an apple. Whoa. And this goes even further because the apple is being eaten. So if someone sees you do something, they're eating it through their eyes. If they feel you doing something in a tactile way, the, touch receptors are getting your apple, right? And so on and so forth. The smell, eating through the nose, eating through the ears, eating through the mouth, certainly. So it's interesting once we understand this concept of inevitable giving and inevitable consumption of who you are, what you're doing, what you're emitting. It's an inevitability. It's happening. And it can happen through intention, and it can happen through unintention, through just subconscious, lashings out, where, I lost my cool and I lost my temper and I did this and I said this. Well, it happened. Your apples have been given out. And perhaps things like trust was broken, at least temporarily. And in those moments, yes, we do become more aware, more cognizant of our actions and our emittings. So, I'm putting this forth just for the sake of us becoming more and more aware of this reality. Like, it is happening. It does happen. It's inevitable. It is a fact of life, a law of nature. You, just by existing, are giving out. And if you want to get a little more metaphysical and say your auric biofield, even as you're passing people by, there's a transfer. So you're giving out your apples energetically. They're eating your apples. You're eating their apples, right? So it's a two-way street. We would be wise and we would benefit in also considering the flip side, where you're eating apples all the time too, through your six senses. And how is it affecting us? How and where and why is it changing us? Right? We were who we were until we ate these certain apples. We are altered, and now we're changed. Most of the time it's subtle. But if you've ever been to an amazing concert, an amazing speech, had trauma, just been to amazing events in general or traumatic events, you knew after that fact, whether it was instantly after or days, months, years after, you realized that you were massively altered after that moment, those moments. Those were big apple pills to swallow and all those things. So, again, these are things to consider, not only because they're profound, but because they're real. They're inevitable. They are facts of life. They are laws of physical and metaphysical human nature. And what are we going to do about it, right? So, I've had these concepts in mind subconsciously for more than a decade at this point. Yeah? Yes, more than a decade. And this concept has been conscious for about 2 years, where, hey, everything that I'm doing is changing people. And it's not just people, it's also just nature, like things going on. Man-made, structures, man-made structures, places and things, and just God, earth, given places and things, where we're giving, we are receiving. It's happening, right? As I'm driving down the street, and it's nice that I have like a scenic commute to most of the places that I'm going to, and I am getting the visual apples, and if you're down for this stuff, I'm also getting the metaphysical auric biofield apples from the nature, the earth nature, and it's awesome. And obviously the human nature of the people and the cars and the houses and all that good stuff. We're giving all the time. We're receiving all the time. And if you needed a take-home message, it's, what are you going to do about it? And how nourishing are your apples? And be willing to have the more quiet time, the more stimulus minimum times of meditation, contemplation, journaling, whether it be sitting, eyes closed, on a walk, etc. Stimulus minimum, just reflecting, being present, and sitting with the concepts of how have my apples been in the past, in this place, in that place, in this situation, that situation. How have they been? How nourishing have they been? How can I, at the heart, soul, core, tree trunk level, make my apples more nourishing. We'll leave it at that. Plenty to reflect on. As I like to end the video with respects, as I beat my heart, soul, chest. Much respect to you. Much respect to me. Much respect to the apples of our eye. Much respect to our willingness and ability to not only survive, but to want to do better, to be better, to make our apples more nourishing. And it's cool how the two-way street works in terms of if we're bettering ourselves, if you don't know already, look up the reticular activating system. We are better able to perceive the good, nourishing apples for us. So it's a positive feedback loop, an upward spiral. It's beautiful. So much respect to you, much respect to me, much respect to all of the nature that is nourishing, and our willingness and ability to put ourselves in the best places and to be willing and ready to work with inevitable challenge that inevitably makes us better, stronger, and more connected with our heart and soul, our true I. All right, this is Mr. Mike. Catch you later.